Hello, everyone. I'm Sam Hansen,
And I'm Sadie Witkowski.
and you're listening to Carry the Two, a podcast from the Institute for Mathematical and Statistical Innovation, aka IMSI.
This is the podcast where Sam and I talk about the real-world applications of mathematical and statistical research.
And here we are, Sadie, at the last episode of our season about the math and stats of gambling.
Time really does fly, doesn't it?
Yeah, it feels like only an hour and a half, especially when you're having fun talking about math and stats, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's try that again with more enthusiasm this time, especially when you're having fun talking about math and stats, right?
Right.
There we go. And for this final episode, let's start talking again about what made me want to talk about gambling in the first place.
A podcast ad?
Well, that was the specific thing, but this time, I mean all of the gambling ads on podcasts and YouTube and streaming and radio and everywhere else, it seems.
They are definitely hard to avoid, that's for sure.
And one of the things that's always on these ads seem to be offers of bonus money or matched bets or covered losses.
Oh, yeah, like $1,500 in bonus bets if your first bet loses, or first $1,000 bets matched.
Exactly. And then there's the very quickly recited fine print about those offers.
Fine print that makes it clear they are not all they seem.
Now, why would you think that?
No reason.
Well, reason or not, you're correct. It turns out that the fine print almost always specifies that the bets must be made within a short period of time after signing up, that the matches or bonuses are on non-withdrawable site credit that expires over time, and sometimes they even require players to only place certain types of bets.
Yeesh, that is some fine print. But we're here to talk about the mathematics and statistics, not skeezy business practices.
But we do often stray into discussions of many different quantitative sciences, and this time I want to talk about the economics behind these business practices.
Fair enough. So where should we start?
How about with what our guide, David Taylor, mathematician, assistant vice president at SUNY Erie, and author of the book, Mathematics of Gambling and Games, An Introduction to Mathematics, said about these offers when I spoke to him.
At the end of the day, the casino, the sports book is going to make money. This is built into pretty much every wager, and it's to the sports book, the casino's benefit to get somebody hooked and addicted, or just give them an in to say, your first $200 of wagers are risk-free, because if you lose, we will give you $500 back in bonus bets. The usual restrictions are there, which are not fun, is you don't get your money back. You get your money back in terms of virtual money to use on future bets. If you win those, you get your money. But, there's a multiple layer here of they're encouraging you to stick with them. You have to make another wager. And if your wager loses, you don't get your money back at that level.
Okay, so what are the economics here?
Well, the obvious part is that it's not like giving people bonus bets actually means that they're gonna win, no matter how sure the gamblers themselves may be of that.
Of course, but they'll still win some.
True, but the more important part is when David's talking about getting the gamblers to stick with them and make another wager.
And by getting people to continue to use their gambling platform, they become more likely to deposit more money, which then makes them more likely to keep betting, which makes them more likely to deposit more money.
And so on and so forth. David likened it to that discounted year of Peacock that I signed up for a year ago or so, and then definitely forgot to cancel before the next year got charged earlier this week.
Easy to say, here's $200, because the long-term value of a customer, they've studied this, pretty much the same as any sort of subscription service for streaming sites and whatnot, is how much money do you really get? You can't figure it out based on just somebody paying money. Is you want to figure out how long will somebody stay. If I pay $10 a month for a subscription and I'm expected to stay for 30 months, my value is $300. How much is the average person going to wager at a sports book before they go somewhere else, try a different site? They have studied this information and know how much to give you back so that you have this this money to play with. I think the parlays, hey, you could only use this money on parlays. They want you to have fun. They want you to feel invested. If you do a parlay with 3 things, you're invested 3 times. And you're probably not likely to win. So it's easy for them.
It was probably a bad idea to let economists and psychologists collaborate, wasn't it?
I don't know if we should go that far, but it does seem that people who want to use those tools to lock people into some platforms have definitely had some luck. Though we are at the University of Chicago, which, as you may have heard, has a rather famous economics department.
Yeah, so we've been told.
Which means that if you want to know more about economics, it would probably be quite useful for you to listen to one of our University of Chicago Podcast Network shows that focus on that exact topic.
One that you're about to tell our listeners about?
Yep. If you're enjoying the discussions we're having on this program, here's another University of Chicago Podcast Network show you should check out. It's called The Pie. Economists are always talking about the pie, how it grows and shrinks, how it's sliced, who gets the biggest share. Join host Tess Vigeland as she talks with leading economists about their cutting-edge research and key events of the day. Hear how the economic pie is at the heart of issues like the aftermath of a global pandemic, jobs, energy policy, gambling, and so much more.
I do believe you promised to cover one last area where mathematics and statistics intersects with gambling.
I did, and that topic is betting systems.
And these are strategies about how to bet to make sure you win money?
That is often the implication, but no strategy can claim that. In fact, there is a theorem from game theorist Richard Epstein that makes it rather clear that any and all strategies for fixed probability games of chance will lead over time to the same expected value.
If that is the case, why would people bother?
There's a couple of reasons. First and most obvious, this is about games of chance. So for games of skill like blackjack, as we discussed 3 episodes ago, there are strategies that can lead to better outcomes, provided that you play at tables where you are reasonably able to count cards.
And the second reason?
The phrase over time.
So there are some strategies that can help over the shorter term.
Help may be too strong a word. More, they offer the chance of winning on the short term, provided you know when to stop.
And that is always the trick, isn't it?
It is. So would you like to hear about one of these systems?
I definitely would.
Great. Let's talk about a famous one that's been around since at least 18th century France, the martingale system.
So, you think about any even money wager game, whether it's casino, whether it's over under sports betting. If I bet $5 and I lose, the next time I double my wager and I bet $10. If I win, I've made back enough money to recoup my original bet, my second bet, and to win whatever the minimum prize was. So I will be $5 richer. And it's going to happen most of the time because you're not going to lose twice in a row other than 25% of the time.
Sure, but 25% chance things happen all the time. What do you do then?
Well, what happens if you lose that 25%? Well, then you double your bet again. So now instead of betting $10, you're betting $20. You've got 20 plus 10 plus 5 invested. You're only going to win 40 at the end. So you're still going to be up $5. And it seems very surefire way to win is to just keep doubling until you win, in which case you reset, you've made the original minimum bet back, you've made a little profit, and you can continue.
Wow, that is so simple. And it does seem rather guaranteed to work eventually. It's not like you would keep losing a 50-50 game forever.
True.
But I thought you said that no system would work over a long period of time.
That's not quite right. I said that no system can change the expected value. And this system doesn't either, as the chance of a win or loss each time is still 50%, which means that the expected value is 0. But no matter what, the expected value isn't the reason this system fails anyway.
Works great, other than most casino games have a limit. Most people don't want to wager, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 times losing and waiting to pay.
To illustrate this, David laid out what would happen if we were to play a coin flip game with an initial bet of $1, where I was using the martingale system, having lost the first 15 tosses.
16th time, do the 16th is 65,536. You're betting a lot of money to win $1. Now, granted, you're getting your money back, and it may happen, but if the casino's table limit is $10,000, you've maxed out at some point. I don't think a casino sports book is going to let you wager, $1 million on a single bet after you've lost so many wagers just to try to get your original $5 back.
Not to mention, there isn't infinite time either.
No, there's not. So while theoretically, with infinite time and wealth, the martingale system would mean you make your money back. But, and I hate to say this, that is way too mathematical a way of thinking to really work in the real world.
Saying that really hurt you, didn't it?
It did. So let's just skip right on past it, please, to the Kelly criterion.
Sure. I'll let you repress that, but don't blame me if it surfaces later tonight, okay? And what is the Kelly criterion?
Well, the Kelly criterion was developed by Bell Labs researcher John Larry Kelly Jr. And it's a formula that takes into account the probability of winning and the win-loss ratio to calculate the percentage of your total money that you should bet in order to maximize the total possible payout over time.
It really is probably the most mathematical version of a betting system you have. And I think it really made news probably about 10, 15 years ago, especially at sports betting, because it does give you sort of this more economics theory about when it makes sense to make a bet.
This tracks very well with the reporting that investors like Warren Buffett and Larry Gross have been reported as using modified versions of the Kelly criterion in their investment work. But famous proponents are not. Just because it maximizes your potential payout over time, it doesn't mean that it increases your probability of actually winning anything.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, I have a final question for you, Sam. After 6 episodes of talking about the math and stats of gambling, what do you think? Will you be heading to a casino or scratching off a ticket anytime soon?
I mean, I could answer, but don't you think that David's answer would be much more interesting than mine?
Yeah, you're right about that.
You didn't have to say it like you were so sure.
I will play the lottery when it gets large enough just for fun. I like to do the put a $20 bill in the slot machine and pay the penny slots and see the bells and whistles. I think for me, that's more enjoyable sometimes than watching a movie. And sometimes you win money back. Otherwise, I will do a sports bet now and then, but usually it's a version of, hey, this Phillies team has a negative 300 to win, and it's worth me paying $30 to maybe win 10 because it's almost a surefire thing.
And his experience focusing on these topics over the years has given him an important insight.
Having taught about this, having written textbook, having talked with a lot of people about this topic is us as humans don't really have a good sense of probabilities when it involves either long-term or small chance rare events.
For example, let's talk about coin flipping one last time.
If you flip a coin 10 times and it always comes up heads, that coin must be not fair or something. Well, that's one outcome. The other outcome is that, 2 to the 10th is, can we do that? That's about 1,024. Among everybody flipping coins on this planet, every 1,024 times, you will flip a coin 10 times and it will come up heads every single time. It is an unlikely rare event, but rare, unlikely events do happen.
That really is such a hard thing to internalize. I mean, I know logically that there are probably many cases today alone of 10 heads coming up in a row, but I've also never seen it happen myself. So I also mostly think of it as an impossible thing.
Me too. And at less than a 0.1% chance of it happening, it is sort of an impossible thing for a given person. Since there are probably not that many people out there who are regularly throwing a coin 10 times in a row and noting down the results. This is why it's so important to remember that any specific series of 10 heads and tails coming up is just as likely as any other specific series of 10 heads and tails. even if you are much more likely to see a total of 5 heads than 10.
Yet I'm never going to fully internalize that, am I?
Probably not, just like I probably won't either. Which is why it's imperative to bring the right perspective to gambling if you decide to do it.
If you find it entertaining and it's something that's not going to make you go broke, then I think, as long as it's bringing you joy, it's not causing problems, go for it, have fun, try to beat the system because casinos want you to. It's really not going to happen very often. If you find something, they'll fix it. But I mean, it is also a place where it's easy to get into a place where you don't have much money, and you can bet all your money on black, and almost half the time you're going to double it. But more than half the time you're not going to.
Now that we're here at the end of the season, Sadie, I want to thank you so much for taking this journey through the math and stats of gambling with me.
You are very welcome. It was a pleasure.
And I also have an announcement that I want to share with you and most importantly with our audience. This will be my last show hosting and producing Carry the Two.
No, that really is sad to hear.
It's sad to announce, but I'm moving on to a new job and will no longer be able to talk about the real-world applications of mathematical and statistical research with you or our audience. Making Carry the Two with you has been a real career highlight of mine, and I'm so proud of each and every episode we've made.
Me too. I mean, we just had such a wide range of topics together.
From voting and polling to quantum information science and symmetry discovery to blackjack and light speed bullet time. It's been a wild ride for sure.
Well, does that mean we know what's next for Carry the Two?
The specifics haven't been finalized yet, but the one thing I can promise is that Carry the Two is not going anywhere. Just stay subscribed to our podcast feed or YouTube channel, and there will be more episodes before you know it.
I mean, that's a relief. And I really do want to say it has been such a pleasure working with you, and best of luck on your next steps in your career.
Thank you so much, and goodbye, everyone. If you or someone you know is struggling with a gambling problem, help is available. The National Council on Problem Gambling provides a range of resources, including the National Problem Gambling Helpline, 1-800-MY-RESET, to help connect you with local resources. Don't forget to check out our show notes in the podcast description for more about David's work and a link to his book.
And if you like the show, give us a review on Apple Podcast or Spotify or wherever you listen. By rating and reviewing the show, you really help us spread the word about Carry the Two so that other listeners can discover us.
And for more on the math research being shared at IMSI, be sure to check us out at our homepage, imsi.institute. We're also on Blue Sky and Instagram, also at imsi.institute. That's IMSI spelled IMSI.
We'd also like to thank Blue Dot Sessions for the music we use in Carry the Two.
Lastly, Carry the Two is made possible by the Institute for Mathematical and Statistical Innovation, located on the gorgeous campus of the University of Chicago. We are supported by the U.S. National Science Foundation and the University of Chicago. It's strange to concussions.
Concussions.
I've had concussions. Leave me alone.
I'm renting a 20-foot U-Haul truck. I have a bed
I
and
was
a couch and
literally
3
like
boxes.
putting in my request for movers, and I just needed somewhere to paste that text because I had lost it once already.
It was like parallel parking. You're like,
Yeah, well, and
nailed
especially
it.
because I'm like, I didn't really know how to finish that career.
I mean, I agree, but like, I don't know that we can say that.
Do.